Hello everyone, welcome to Game Tech UK, and this video, which is an unboxing and a look around the Velocity 1 flight deck and the Velocity 1 flight stick. For full transparency, I am an affiliate of Turtle Beach, and they did send me this absolutely free of charge to use in this video and use on the channel. There is a link in the description, that's an affiliate link, and if you use the code GameTechUK at checkout, you will get 10% off. But with all that being said, let's get on with today's video. This has come at a perfect time for me. I want to get back into Star Citizen. When I play that game, I want to do a dual stick setup. So that's what I'll predominantly be using this for. I will, of course, check out Microsoft Flight Sim as well. Let's take our usual look around the box. There's some really nice attractive artwork around the box. On the front of the flight deck box, it shows the HOTAS in situ with it all switched on, the RGB lights working. The box also tells us that the flight deck has a flight touch display, a stick-mounted HUD, autopilot controls, and there's also a Velocity 1 Hangar app for your phone. Interestingly to note, the flight deck is only available with support for Windows 10 or 11. It's not compatible with console. Around the back of the box on the flight deck, there's a huge amount of information, which is important when you're spending this sort of money to make sure the information is there so you're purchasing the right product. But the basics are, it's got 15 axis and 138 programmable controls. Contactless sensors on all main controls provide durable accuracy. Complete simulation controls at your fingertips provide tactical superiority in any situation. Dual levers include lock switch and haptic detents for effortless multi-engine control. And there's extensive RGB LED lighting zones that provide enhanced customization of your cockpit. The flight deck has Bluetooth connection. This enables you via the app to tune every aspect of the product performance and works seamlessly with the HUD and flight touch display. This apparently is the world's first fully programmable SIM display for custom touch response buttons and dynamic alerts. The front of the flight stick box shows the product switched on. I do like these two zones of RGBs. It looks like on the left is blue and on the right is yellow. It's an ambidextrous design, so it doesn't matter if you're left or right-handed. There's a flight management display at the top of the stick. There's a multi-mode trim wheel, and it's Bluetooth enabled to enable customization via the app. The flight stick is compatible with Windows 10 and 11, and unlike the flight deck, this will work on your Xbox console, both the Xbox One and the Xbox Series S and X. Taking a look inside the box, it all seems to be really nicely packaged with a very convenient quick start guide on the underside of the lid. Then we have two braided USB cables. Next up is the stick itself, and it looks really nice. I really like that carbon fibre effect. It's like the stick itself has a sort of like an anti-slip feel to it. I like this screen at the top. Everything feels really high quality. All the font and the text is really clear. The buttons are all nice and firm, responsive and clicky. Next we have the stick base. Again, feels really heavy, it feels good quality, and this is where we're going to plug our stick to and then screw anti-clockwise just to connect that. On the underside you can see we've got anti-slip pads. You've also got some holes here, so if you were going to mount it on some kind of flight deck or your desk, you certainly could do that. Then we have the throttle section. Again, feels really heavy, high quality. The same sort of grippiness to the throttle section. There's a nice bit of resistance to that as well. And there's a touch display as well, which I think is really unique. Same goes for the underside. You've got anti-slip pads, or you could indeed bolt this to a desk or a flight rig. As with the flight deck, when you open up the flight stick, you're presented with some quick start instructions. The stick is extremely well packaged. We've also got the USB cable that's going to allow you to plug this into your PC or your Xbox. Once out of the box, you can see the prominent Xbox brand in here with the Xbox button, the A, B, X and Y, but of course we can use this on PC as well. The stick is comfortable. You've got the flight management display at the top, and you've also got a flight configuration wheel in the center of the stick. Once we've installed the flight deck software, of course the most important thing to do is to update the firmware both on the throttle and the stick. Once the firmware is up to date and you're in the software, you can do a hardware test both for the throttle and the stick. You can see here we're doing it for the throttle. This is essentially just making sure all the buttons, the axis are all working, and it also gives you an idea of the sensitivity of the POV and the axis, and just gives you an idea of what the buttons do and the sensitivity involved. You can do the same hardware tests with the stick, and this just enables us to familiarise ourselves with the different axes and different buttons. There is a huge amount to change in this software. For example, the haptic feedback, not only on the throttle but the stick. On the stick you can change not only the intensity but when the haptic feedback kicks in. You can have it straight away if you want haptic feedback all the time, or you could set it as like a maximum point so you know when the haptic feedback kicks in you're at full lean. These settings don't apply immediately. You have to go back and you'll see a message come up saying that it's syncing. Then when you click the profile, it will come up that an incoming configuration update is about to happen. You just approve that, your stick will restart, and any changes that you've made, so say the colors or the haptic feedback, will then be updated. Same procedure for the throttle. I'm going to choose one of the presets called space, and there you can build your own profile. For example, on the haptic feedback for the throttle, you can have it so the haptics kick in on a maximum point, a minimum point, and the center. You could just choose the maximum, the minimum, or just the center. It's up to you how you set this profile up. You can fully configure the touchscreen display. You can drag your own buttons in, switches, dials. You can name them what you want. You can put your own text in. You can fully configure this to the game that you're playing and get the profile set up for you. I went through the usual procedure of plugging in the flight stick to the PC, but the firmware was already up to date. I downloaded the app for the flight stick. Slightly different here. Everything does work in real time, so you can change things like the color buttons, and everything is updated immediately on the flight stick. You can add everything from dead zones to adding curves to your axis. It seems to be a really useful app. You can also configure the flight deck via the app, although most controls are changed on the PC. So how much is this equipment? Well, let's go over to the Turtle Beach website and find out. The Velocity One flight deck is available for, as I say, Windows 10 and Windows 11, and that's $379.99. The Velocity One flight stick is priced at $99.99. That's for all Xboxes and your PC. Quality-wise, the flight deck feels fantastic. There's no wobbling to this. There's nothing loose. The buttons aren't loose. The buttons are all really tight and tactile. The haptic feedback was a fantastic surprise for me. I honestly didn't know it had that. So to be able to have that center point or the maximum point or the minimum point, just give a little vibration. You can customize that. You don't have to have all three. You could just have a vibration on the middle point. I think that's going to be invaluable for things like Star Citizen, knowing where your thrust is going to be, or of course, Microsoft Flight Sim. This is very nice. Same with the stick. The stick is really good quality. I like the fact that you can raise the length of the stick up. That's really good. The digital display at the top of the screen is just a fantastic addition for Star Citizen or Microsoft Flight Sim or whatever it is you're playing in. I really like it, and I can't wait to start using it. Now, being a much cheaper item, this doesn't feel as high a quality as the stick on the flight deck, and that's fine. The difference between the price is quite a lot. This is very cost effective. It's still high quality. There's no buttons rattling or anything like that. It doesn't feel cheap. One thing I will say is, though, it's quite short. So when you've got it on the desk and the stick is quite long, you do find that when you push it forward, if you push it forward with any sort of weight, it does lift off the desk, so you might want to stick it down on your desk or use these screw bolts to maybe fix it somehow. But again, a lovely flight stick, especially for that price. There you have it, a look around the flight deck, the flight stick, and the software. I can't wait to start using this and getting back to some space sim. Been a long time since we've been in space on the channel, predominantly, of course, with Star Citizen and just general flight with Microsoft Flight Sim as well. Don't forget to use that code GameTechUK for 10% off. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments section below. Is this something you've been looking at? Are you looking to get into flight simulation on your Xbox or PC? Or have you already got these products? I would love to know in the comments section below. But that is it, everyone. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.